guys, it's Boxing Lowdown and I'm back here with another video. Now this is my post-fight review to Gervonta Davis's 12th round stoppage victory over Yuriorkis Gamboa last night in Atlanta. Fantastic fight, man, very entertaining. You know what, it was a very entertaining card actually, because the undercard, Badou Jack against John Pascal, was also a very entertaining fight. But let me talk about Gervonta Davis first of all, man. Recorded a 12th round stoppage victory over Gamboa. Put Gamboa down 2-3 times before that earlier on, and then the final knockdown coming in the last round. Gervonta Davis, yeah, I mean, I predicted him to win. I think many of us did. However, it wasn't the straightforward type of victory that, you know, some people would have expected from Gervonta Davis. Now, let's not get it twisted. He was always in pretty much control of the fight. However, Gamboa did take his shots, man. He took his shots throughout the whole fight. Somebody that's been down a lot of times in his career. I think the commentator said he's been down like 14, 15 times in his career. So he's definitely touched the canvas a lot of times and he's no stranger to it. However, Gervonta Davis moved up in weight. So this is his first fight at lightweight. Even though he, you know, missed weight on the scales, it is his first fight at lightweight. And yeah, I mean, the power punches, he was a very, very heavy hitter in the lower divisions. And he's carried up some of that power to lightweight as well by putting down Gamboa 3 times. But he didn't put him away earlier on like many of us would have expected. I think after the first 2 knockdowns or so, many of us thought, yeah, he'd be able to get Gamboa out of here now. But Gamboa was still there. You know, he fought through everything, and you know, he fought through like a bad. I don't know what happened with his foot at the end of like the 3rd or 4th round, but you know, his shoe or something wasn't really. I think it was causing him issues like moving back. So when he was fighting, I think that either the sole of his shoe or something like that was loose, and he couldn't like fight back. And so a lot of people were saying that the first knockdown that he suffered was a result of his shoe or some sort of like material in his shoe going. However, it affected Gamboa in the sense that when he was going on the back foot, he wasn't on balance a lot of the time. So they taped up his shoe in the middle rounds. I think it took him like 3 or 4 rounds to do. And Gamboa was taking some heavy hits from Gervonta Davis, man. I mean, he was taking some real power shots, but he fought through it, man. The guy, even at 38 years old, it shows, you know, he's still a warrior, he's still a fighter. And in the middle rounds, he was starting to land some shots of his own. He landed a good 3-punch combination on Gervonta Davis. I think it was in the 10th or so, or the 11th. And yeah, he was landing some punches of his own, but they weren't able to move Gervonta Davis really, who was always in control of the fight. And, you know, he did show a bit of fatigue as we headed into the later rounds. I mean, he's not used to going into the later rounds against fighters, but him missing the weight, I mean, I know he did make the weight the 2nd time, let me just put that out there, but him missing the weight at the 1st time, and you know, he seemed a bit fatigued at times during the fight, and Yuriorkis Gamboa wasn't in a position to really, you know, take advantage of that. But you have to think, if it was somebody else in there, somebody like a Teofimo Lopez or a Devin Haney or somebody like that, who are in lightweight as well, you know, these guys are fighting up at lightweight, how would they have reacted to Gervonta Davis fatiguing in the later round? I'm sure they would have put it on him. And a lot of people might have thought he would have been able to really put Gervonta Davis on some serious pressure there. But nevertheless, Yuriorkis Gamboa wasn't able to do it. He wasn't able to put any sort of sustained pressure on Gervonta Davis, who was able to overcome the fatigue and then stop Gamboa in the 12th, who was fatigued himself. I mean, in the later rounds, Gamboa just seemed to be like leaning on Davis and not really sustaining much of an offense. He was really, I think he was a bit tired himself. But in the 12th round, man, Gervonta Davis went for it. You know, credit to him. He went for the knockout win and he got it. You know, he put Gamboa down. And I mean, Gamboa did go down quite heavy, but he did have his senses about him. And I think he would have got up, but I think the referee had just seen enough and just thought, you know what, let me stop the fight, because it wasn't the 12th round. Most people would have thought, you know, let him finish the fight. You know, he's made it all the way to 12. Why don't you let him see the end of the fight? But I think he sustained so much punishment up until then that the referee made a conscious decision to just wave it off. And it has to be said as well, Gamboa didn't actually protest the decision or anything like that. So it just goes to show that he was taking some heavy hits from Gervonta Davis. He was a bit tired, you know, and he went for a rough fight, man. But this guy's 38 years old and he's still, you know, slugging it out in there with a phenomenal talent like Gervonta Davis. But I think the pressing issue now for Davis, what we're all saying is, you know, we want him to fight these top guys. Now he's at lightweight as well. You look at some of the guys in that lightweight division, man. Like I said, you've got Lomachenko at the top. You've got, you know, Teofimo Lopez. You've got Devin Haney. You've got Ryan Garcia, who will be eventually making his way up the rankings in however long. But, you know, there are some guys out there. Luke Campbell's there. Richard Comey can bounce back. There are some top guys at lightweight now that we'd like to see Gervonta Davis get in there and fight. The issue is that a lot of these guys are not really in the PBC. You know, Lomachenko isn't with the PBC, he's with Top Rank. So is Teofimo Lopez. You've got Devin Haney's with DAZN. You've got Ryan Garcia, who's with Golden Boy. Luke Campbell with like Matchroom DAZN. So all of these guys are fighting on like different networks. It's a similar situation to Jamal Charlo at middleweight, who represents the PBC. But most of the top contenders at middleweight are fighting for different networks, such as you know, DAZN or anywhere else. But it's the same sort of situation for Gervonta Davis. And for us now, I mean, I really want to see Gervonta Davis have these type of fights. He's not like the young prospect anymore that he was hyped up for so long to be 20, 21 years old. No, this guy's 25 years old now. So it's about time to see him start stepping up and fighting these top guys, because we know he's got that potential. And I think for Gervonta Davis, it will be of his benefit as well to fight one of these top guys in the division, because it will motivate him more, and I'm sure he'll make the weight. And I think that he will be, you know, at his best. He'll bring his complete A game against one of these fighters. So let's hope in 2020 we see Gervonta Davis take on one of these guys. I'm not going to hold my breath. I think that he probably does want these fights, but I think Mayweather Promotions, Leonard Ellaby and Floyd Mayweather are really just focused on building him into a star, however frustrating that is. It's, yeah, I don't know. For me, I think like I'd much rather see Gervonta Davis. He'd more likely be a star if he took on one of these top guys and beats them, because he can beat them. It's not like he doesn't have the talent to beat these guys, but he's just not being rushed at all. And, you know, he's moving on Ellaby and Mayweather's watch. So I don't know. I'm not too optimistic that we'll see him in a massive fight next year, especially considering the whole rivalry with the networks and so Al Heyman and Bob Arum. But you never know. Fingers crossed. I'd like to see it, but let me know what you think about Gervonta Davis and how you think he would get on against the likes of a Teofimo Lopez, or, you know, Devin Haney, a Luke Campbell, or Lomachenko, you know, one of these guys, maybe Mikey Garcia. But yeah, that's not going to happen either, is it? Let's be honest. But yeah, just thinking out loud, man, let me know your thoughts on it. Gervonta Davis, will he reach the potential that he's been, you know, tooted for so long? Or do you think that maybe he's just going to fight some of these guys, you know, like lower level, like just underneath the elite sort of guys instead of the top ones? But I'd like to see it. But drop your thoughts in the comment section below anyway. Let me know what you think about that. And before I sign off, let me just talk about the Badou Jack and John Pascal fight, which was a very entertaining fight. One that went to John Pascal by split decision. If you guys saw my prediction video, I was going for Jack. I thought that he would win this fight and win it quite impressively. But John Pascal, man, he continues to defy the odds, man. And he's really, you know, you've got to give it to him. You have to give it to this guy, man. You look at some of the guys that he's fought, he hasn't backed down from anybody. Like, he's fought literally everyone, John Pascal has. So credit to him, man. And, you know, he got the win over Badou Jack. I've seen people screaming robbery, saying this and that. But listen, I thought Jack did enough to win, but it wasn't a robbery in my opinion. I thought that, you know, it was a close fight. John Pascal, in the first like half of the fight, he was winning. Like, let's not get it twisted. He knocked Badou Jack down in the fourth round, I believe it was. And up until round 6, so the first half of the fight, there is no doubt who was winning that fight in terms of rounds. And I think it was mainly to do with Badou Jack's strong finish and his knockdown in the 12th. And I think that may have swayed a lot of people to think that Jack definitely won it, and if he didn't get it, it'd be a robbery. But, you know, fights are scored on a round-by-round basis. And you have to look at the early rounds as well. And John Pascal put a lot of those rounds in the bank. You know, he knocked Badou Jack down, like I said, and he was winning the early rounds as well. You know, Badou Jack is a slow starter, so he's very unlucky when it comes to decisions, Badou Jack. But in this particular sense, it was a close fight. I did have him winning it but I definitely wouldn't call it a robbery. I thought John Pascal did enough to win. And yeah, like, it was just a close fight. You know, you could see it either way. But let me know your thoughts on that one as well. Drop them in the comment section below, guys. And let me know what you'd like next for John Pascal and Badou Jack, whether you'd like to see them have a rematch, or maybe you'd like to see John Pascal move on and fight somebody like Dmitry Bivol, or maybe even Artur Beterbiev. But yeah, let me know in the comment section below, guys. I'll catch you on the next one.